Thank you, Mother, for hosting the GenJam. Thank you all for being here. We hope, and what we are attempting to do is demystify, the whole AI conversation by just providing, as the forays, providing a platform for people to have at it, and the creative thinkers to have at it and see what they think and how it appeals and things that we should all be learning as an industry. So this is really important. And our ambition is to do more of these and to do these around the country as well. We were talking earlier about just how much technology moves. And part of it is, it's gonna keep on moving. It's just the nature of the beast. But if we can provide these forums where people can just kind of get their hands on the tools of the moment, see how it feels, how it works, and looking at all of the videos and the film that we saw, clearly there is potential there. What I'm hoping to do, Oriel, is in this conversation, just get your perspective on, we hear a lot about technology. For my own personal taste, we don't hear enough around creativity and ideas. And so in many quarters, it's like, well, the machines can do that, or you don't need to do as much as that as before. That's the RIP side of things. The re-up side of things is, well, you've got these tools, does it democratize ideas for all types of creative agencies to compete on the same level? Production used to be one of the barriers, right? AI can help in those types of areas. But is it really an opportunity for creativity to go to the next level? Go broader, deeper, much more, not more of it in volume, but just being able to take an idea to different places, right? I know you understand the value of an idea, but many don't in our industry, right? So I'd love to just start by asking you, in terms of Mother and how you see creativity, like which side of the fence are you on? And I know the answer, but tell me how you see each side of the fence. Those that are talking technology, I think maybe to the detriment of creativity, and what creativity and the creative community needs to do to get its voice back and have more of these types of moments.
Yeah. No, it's the question we're probably all wrestling with, and I spend a lot of my time, thinking about, and we talk about here at Mother. We're big believers in adopting the tools, right? We have a global kind of task force to make sure that we are staying ahead of the trends, the tools, that we have everything at our disposal to get the ideas and the creativity that we have, in the building, out into the world, right, in its best form. So in that sense, we're big believers, but we're a company that's built our reputation. We're 30 years old now. We've built our reputation on, high value human creativity and craft, and so we're not embracing AI because it's a shortcut to anything. We're not talking to clients and the brands that we work with and promising that our adoption of tools will make us cheaper or faster, right? Because I think that's what everyone wants to hear, right? And or certainly a lot of clients want to hear that, right? How is this going to save me money? How's it going to save time? But
how real is that pressure?
How real?
Yeah.
It's real, for sure. Clients are asking, when will I see this? When will I see these tools show up in my, in production? When will I see the effects of, you using all these tools, or what I see out in the world, and the kind of, they're following. We're all following the same news cycles, right? They want to know when that's going to show up in their work, right? And ultimately they want to know, is it going to change the cost of what we do? And so it is real, but I think what we are making sure that we're doing is showing our workings, showing how we're implementing it day to day, right? And actually, it's not necessarily in the kind of finished product yet, but it's in the process, it's in the conversations about the work and about creativity, and shortening the gap or closing the gap between what we can imagine and what a client can imagine, and bringing those visions together. It's allowing us to get to that place quicker.
Right.
But at the moment, we're not promising that this is some great cost and time saver, because our value and the reason that clients come to us is for the talent in the building. It's for a point of view. It's for a level of care and craft that it's a premium. And so for us, it's really important to kind of hold on to that value.
Got it. So if I've heard you right, essentially you're human first,
Very.
ideas driven. But if I heard you correctly, the tools allow you to get to a point maybe of common understanding around an idea quicker, right?
Yep.
Has the client had to change the way they work with you? Have you changed your process in any way? Or has that just been a natural evolution of just the tools allow you to show up, get to that point quicker, and you almost got a cheat code in the building because of that? How's that process been?
I mean, we're in the middle of it right now. Like, you know, I was having a call yesterday where, you know, we prototype things now. We're like, rather than, you know, get on a call and read through pages of scripts, it's a lot easier to kind of hit play and go, it's going to feel something like this. But that requires prototyping. That requires, you know, credits and token. It requires an infrastructure, right? You can't just like whip that stuff up. So there's a question of like, well, who pays for that, right? Should prototyping now show up in scopes? And so that's something we're kind of wrestling with at the moment. Is like a client's not necessarily asking you to prototype something, but we know the benefits of it.
Right.
So that's kind of a conversation that is ongoing and is literally being figured out at the moment. But I think the reaction we see from clients is that they're grateful, right? It's a lot easier for them to take our ideas and take the things that we're working on and go around their own company, right? And kind of talk to people who haven't been on the journey, who aren't, you know, don't get the benefit of looking at all the strategy that got to this point, and they have maybe 5 minutes with someone and they need to get them up to speed quickly on the work we're doing. Again, it's a lot easier to just go, here it is. So I think generally, there's an embrace on both sides, but it's very much still it's an active conversation that I feel like changes week to week.
Got it. I mean, just to give you a data point, we did a survey, or piece of research rather, with Forrester. Only 7% of agencies, I think actually it's 7% last year, 6% this year, are monetizing their investment in AI tools. Right. So there are a lot of agencies out there that are buying all the licenses, buying the different tools, and it's becoming a cost to serve. And one of the things that we're going to be advocating for more is that has to stop. Like, you're a business too, right? So there has to be a way and a moment where there is a commercial conversation around, we've got to share this cost, so we've just got to make a deal on what the stack is and how we invest. Just so you know you're not alone on that. In terms of your teams and, you know, running the creative department, does it change anything materially in how you run the teams and how you develop the teams? Is it having more of a role in that, or is that a separate process that you run, a way that, you know, playbook that you run, and then the tools are really around the work, or is it bleeding into other areas of running, you know, the creative department?
I mean, we make sure that the teams have the access they need to all the tools, you know, and that suite of tools is changing kind of week to week. And there is an expectation that, you know, if you're a creative team, you know, here, writer or art director or whatever, like, that you are on those tools and you're aware and you're able to use them. So in that sense, the tools of the trade are changing, and we expect people to stay up on them. But in another sense, you know, the act of generating ideas and looking at ideas and talking about them and filtering out, you know, the ones that are shit and the ones that are worth kind of progressing. Still, it's, you know, like that's the same as it ever was, right? And we're getting together and we're looking at them and we're going, does that feel right? Is it smart? Does it feel original? Right? Just because it's, you know, you're able to render it, you know, to a degree that it would have been unthinkable 2 years ago. It doesn't make it a good idea. Right. So we're still very much in that sense. That process is as it was.
Interesting. The reason I asked for that question was because I've been lucky enough to talk to about 75 agency CEOs, CCOs around the US, right? Just going and talking with them and understanding what they're doing. And it's been fascinating in terms of when you talk about AI and creativity, much of the conversations that I've had has been for resizing, for prototyping, right? For those types of, you know, showing where the production units could be, the deliverables, what they could be, formats, great. But for conceptual creativity, like ideation, there's a lot of angst around using tools because it's like, I could get an idea or co-develop an idea, and then I don't know 2 years down the line if I'm going to be on the hook for infringement, or because you just don't know the data sources behind a lot of these platforms. In the way that you are running your process, are you using AI in any way for ideation, to lead the ideation process, or is that just stayed the same?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can't speak for every creative in the building.
Right.
I would hope they're not using it too much for ideation.
Right.
But no, I think where we find it most valuable is like, it's helpful for kind of strategic rigor, right? Like deep research. I think that is really helpful. Context on, on categories, on brands, all of that stuff.
Yep.
The more academic, I guess, side of things, right, inside of what we do. But to me, there's like coming up with ideas, and the act of creativity requires leaps. It requires the ability to connect things that kind of, maybe only one person or two people would connect. Right. And I haven't seen that in AI yet. I haven't seen that, in my chats with Claude or, ChatGPT. Like it's usually pretty bad at doing that, right? It's very rational, and it's like you're not wrong, but it's really boring. And so I think that's where I don't see a role for it yet, in that in that, like, we're turning to AI for, like, give me ideas. Maybe it's testing a theory, testing an idea, right? But no, I think ultimately I'm looking for surprise and originality, and and so far,
like the Liberty Mutual that we saw.
That was really good.
That was cool.
But again, I don't know if AI would have put those things together, right? And kind of said, oh, I'm going to take this really specific animation style and this kind of slightly weird story, and like take those left turns, right? I just don't think it would have done that, because it doesn't. It takes you down usually the most kind of expected path, and actually kind of what we like and what we're attracted to and what we resonate with are like when we're surprised and we're taken down paths we didn't really know existed. So yeah.
Anything give you angst? Anything make you like worry you in terms of whether it's the talent, the effect of tech on talent, or the effect of AI on craft? You mentioned craft a few times. Anything? What worries you? Because as a CCO, if I know CCOs, then they get worried about the substance of work.
No, I was thinking about it this week, and I've talked to a couple of people about it, because we're very much on the tools, and we're very actively prototyping the work and the ideas that we are putting forward to clients. I do worry a little bit, like that we may start to put our own work and our own thinking through the lens of, like, will this work for AI? And so we will start to maybe take things off the table because it's not as easily rendered in AI, right? AI can do a lot, but like there are still things you can see it struggling with, right? And there will still be things that require you to imagine, require you to kind of like trust that the outcome will be, what we believe it can be. So I do maybe worry is that we, our tendency, and I'm not talking about us as Mother, but just like collective we, if we're like, okay, I could probably sell something into the client more easily because I can render it and I can hit play on a really flashy, piece of material, or I can show them this idea that might actually be better, but it's just harder to put together in a video. It's harder to package. And so
leap of faith is needed.
And that is a worry, that we may inadvertently make it harder to sell and more ambitious ideas, because of clients will expect almost a full render before they buy anything, right? And so it's just a little side effect that keeps me up at night.
Are you fighting against that? Are you, just in how you present work, engage the clients, are you setting your stall out just to almost educate clients not to look for that? Do you know what I mean? Like not to expect that, those types of things. What are some of those conversations, if any? Like, are you?
You have to caveat everything, pretty heavily at the moment, right? And just say, like, this is good, but good enough is not what we're aiming for, right?
Well, there's a lot of people that think clients are they're already starting to buy
good enough.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Like the whole technology thing, the amount of film content, the pace that you can produce, it's lowered the bar.
For sure.
What do you think?
No, I know that there will be clients. There'll be clients who are willing to accept good enough. There'll be agencies willing to produce it. I think that's always been the case, though. You know, like regardless of the tools, regardless of like what we use, there are people who just have a lower threshold for what they're willing to put out in the world. And I think for us, Mother, again, I go back to like 30 years of pretty stubbornly focused on our craft and the belief in we're here to be the best at what we do, and that is our premium. That's our brand. It's why clients come to us. So yeah, I'm sure it will lower the bar probably for a lot of people. We have to always not assume, but we have to believe and make sure that when clients come through the door, they're here for the standard that we deliver, right? And so that they're not coming in asking us to do something that we think is below our bars.
In terms of when you look at just the work, right? So beyond Mother, just the work in the industry. How would you typify it? And let me give you a bit of background. I was talking I go out for a lunch with a CMO and agency owner, two independent agency owner, they're friends, right? And we were just talking about, okay, you guys are stalwarts of the industry. Let's just look at the work, the product, right? I'm obsessed with the product. What do you think, where do you think the product is? Is the work of our industry as good as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Are we sensing there's a dip? Are the ideas big enough and brave enough is really what we were talking about. Like, are agencies still putting it out there? Can you see enough of that? And again, linked to technology, the table was split. I said no. I think there were bigger, bolder ideas previously. Forget the technology. I just think there's a confidence that our industry had creatively that we need to get back to, right? And my friends were like, one CMO, very well-known CMO, was like, yeah, it kind of depends, right? It kind of it depends on whether I want to push it or not. And I said, well, that's kind of the problem. Because back in the day, even 5 years ago, you would be letting the agency come up with the creative agenda, right? And his point to me was, yeah, but that's changed a bit, right? That's changed a bit. Now we've got in-house teams and we've got a lot more creativity near us and in the building. So that has changed. And the agency owner, independent like Mother, was like, yeah, and I find myself kind of fighting for what I should do, but the reality is, that good enough thing. So when I look across what the industry's producing, it's good, but it's just not quite where it was at. What do you think about that? Because I have a lot of these conversations, but what do you think about that? Are we as strong as ever? Is this going to allow us to get to the next level, technology, or are we kind of in a bit of a holding pattern? What's happening creatively?
I mean, I think it's probably, if you probably looked at patterns throughout history, everything is cyclical and comes in waves. And I'm very much try not to look back 5-10 years ago and be like, oh, it was better it was better 5 years ago and 10 years ago. Because I think part of that is like wrapped up with like, oh, things were better when my back didn't hurt as much and when I had fewer gray hairs, I'm very much like wary of kind of, looking back through those, that lens. Because we may also be looking back on this moment in 5-10 years, right? And saying the same. I think maybe the shift I've seen is that clients and brands, right, there's just fewer who are willing to kind of say, hey, I haven't got the numbers in front of me. I haven't got all the kind of testing that I would like, but I'm willing to take a bet. You know, I have a feeling and I'm willing to go for it. There's fewer, I think, clients. And I remember, one of the things I do remember was maybe the clients or the folks on the marketing side or the CMO felt like they were, more often than not, they felt more like a creative trapped in a suit. In a suit, and they would come into the agency and be like, this is the favorite part of my day. And I meet fewer clients like that now. You know, I think they are a little more
insightful.
They're suits. You know, like they're suits in suits, and you know, and so there's a lot more data to deal with. There's a lot more like you have to build a case, you know, a lot more for the leaps and for the creativity. And so when you find clients who still have that gut, you know, who still kind of go, you know what, I just have a hunch, and I'm going to go for it, and I've got the you know, belief in my organization where I'm going to say that we're going to do this. Man, you just hold on to those guys because there's just fewer of them. But we're lucky to have, you know, our fair share, I think, here where a client we try to attract those clients, you know, and I think that's my sense right now is that I don't know if the work is better or worse than it was, but I think there are maybe fewer clients who will really fight for the best of it.
One of the ways that I believe you kind of get clients to be brave is one of the tactics is to bring them a new voice in the room, right? Where they just like they're used to seeing you and then you bring them someone else. And I roll that down to talent, right? I think talent, different types of talent, different voices of talent that will allow clients to hear something different and see the belief and the passion, right? And I want to end just with a couple of questions on talent, right? How are you seeing talent? Are you bringing in different types of talent? Are you seeing, I mean, everyone's talking about the creator economy and influencers, etc. But are you seeing on producers and makers, are you seeing different skill sets, different types of creatives? Are you looking in different places? People that are living, many more people are living in like tribes and part of communities, which clients are very disconnected from, right? Great way for them to listen to something different and believe that now's the time to be brave because you may have the people that are part of those communities. So how are you looking at the talent base that you've got to build in order to keep Mother being Mother? And I'm a fan of Mother for 30 years, by the way, because I started my career in London and Mother was one of the emblematic launches. So tell me, how are you doing that? What's the talent strategy or how you're looking at talent?
Talent it's the number one thing that we think about, we talk about literally all day, every day. It will be the kind of defining, you know, or the difference maker, right, between a good agency and a great agency. And so I think about it constantly. And if you hear our global CCO, Felix, talk about it, he has a very fancy word for the kind of ambition that we all share. He calls it polyphony, which is it means many different voices that come together and to harmonize. And it's a really nice way, I think, to describe the strength of Mother is that, you know, I don't want the work that we do to sound like me, right? And that's fine for some places, right? That's a model that works, right? You have a very strong singular voice and everyone kind of feeds into it. But Mother at its best has always been a place where highly talented, creative people from kind of all walks of life who have strong voices and strong views about the world can come and express those, right, in all formats. And so that's the goal here, right, is that we're not looking for people who all think the same or who all sound the same or do the same types of work. We're looking for people who actually approach it quite differently, right? But we share values, right? And the work that we do is kind of united by a set of values, an ambition, a craft, you know, insight, but actually can look and feel very different. So we're always on the lookout. We recruit from, you know, the traditional places like portfolio schools. We you know, we pull from other agencies, but we also go out of our way to try and bring in people who don't have traditional backgrounds, right? Someone just last week sent me a short screenplay, and it was titled "The Greatest Copywriter in the World," probably, and it was just a short play about them hoping to get into here. You know, get a job at Mother. And there was they're not in advertising, they're doing something completely different. And I sat and read it and I was like, it's the best thing I've read all day. And they came in for a coffee yesterday and then we'll get them back in and they'll spend some time with us. And
yeah,
if we can't be a place for that kind of talent, I don't know where can be. So I do see us as a bit of a home for, and a beacon for those kinds of people.
Yeah. Does talent broadly worry you as you look in different places? Is it still in abundance? Do you feel it's thinning? Like, what's your view on that? How are we doing from a talent pipeline perspective?
Yeah.
How's that looking creatively?
Yeah, 2 years ago, I was probably a bit more worried, because I was a bit more worried about, like, I'll just say the kids, like, just like, and I was like, do they like this anymore? Do they, are they having fun? Because like I had fun when I was, starting out, and I was like, is this still fun for them? Do they want to do this? Yeah. And we went out and we brought in, I would say, like a kind of a crop of junior talent who just kind of came in and just like lit up the place, and they just brought the energy and the enthusiasm that I was worried had kind of gone for good. Right. Like post-COVID and all of that, like people who'd spent
all the screens, all the Zooms.
I was just like had that completely like sucked the life out of our like youngest creatives, and so now I look around at our department and I'm like, no, it's still here, and we were out, we took the whole agency out last night.
Nice.
And it felt like, again, not to look back, but it felt like advertising of old, right? It felt like, oh, this is the other side of it. This is why we do it. It's the camaraderie. So, so that gives me a lot of hope. And then maybe at the more senior level, I think finding people who are ready for kind of where they're at. It's like that. The tricky spot is that like 1 foot in like management and leadership, 1 foot still in the work. That's always a bit tricky. Navigating that, right? So, but no, I feel good about the talent. Nice. I think it's been a rough, maybe a few months, obviously for the industry. But the people that are coming through the door here are coming through with like just like a desire to get back to the work and just be in a creative environment and and like really feel connected to it again. I think so. Yeah, no, I generally I'm feeling good.
Great, love it. I mean, one of the things that we want to do at the 4As is be, of all the associations, I was saying to you earlier, we want to be the closest to the work, right? The product of what the industry gives is actually what builds brands and builds business and great for the economy. So I love hearing what you're saying.